Test.
Shows that the director shall receive compensation on the amount for regular district board meeting. Wouldn't that fix it? That would fix our issue.
That was one of the things that we were going to discuss too later on. Bruce, it's that is one of the things that she held off on. So they got back and that's to.
So just as a thought, to the board, I guess, I think that would fix our any kind of issues with that rate.
Yeah, and future board can deal with
Yeah. So, okay.
So you say
Any comment to?
so you want to put regular district board meetings?
Well, that's,
Or whatever, I'm just saying.
that's what I would propose.
We can put that, we can make that resolution when we get to the regular meeting.
Well, but in fact, because we put our,
Yeah, when we're passing it, that will change it.
Okay.
okay. Well, I hope to go budget.
But like you said, all the numbers, everything was put into it. We do have overviews of that were in it as revenues for property taxes and the breakdowns on this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, on the budget side, taking over for Ray, I was only at the last meeting, so, it was brought to my attention here recently that our suck truck does not work.
Yeah.
Okay. I am assuming, and I shouldn't assume, but I'm assuming that was put in the budget.
Part of the equipment for sewer.
So we, as soon as we finish this budget, that suck truck is gonna get hauled down wherever it needs to get hauled and it's gonna get repaired, right?
Well, I don't know whether we've had 3 people look at it to repair. We're out there buying a mobile unit like we used RTCs for years. And they asked for theirs back. We had bought and sold to them from all the things that, okay. And that's what I'm looking at. It's more of a trailer pull for that. Yeah.
Portable unit that's trailer pull.
Yeah.
But either way, we've got the money in the budget.
Yeah.
To remedy this situation.
That was part of one of the things that he asked for was a pothole.
Okay, thank you.
I understand that we've been out of the subventure for approximately 6 months.
That's been about
So any other budget comment questions? One thing I noticed was, I appreciate the appreciation you beat on that you guys built up the water. I noticed it on the golf course, the pro shop, depreciation went down. Was it, I guess, kind of fly, as well as, I presume actually that the pro shop director was involved in this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are.
Is that okay? That,
Yeah. It was,
Yeah. We can have on that. Is there any particular reason why it went down?
just to make it balance, because we were that high.
It was tight enough where you had to make it balance.
And, since we did end up with, because we wanted to replace windows, we wanted to do a bunch of other things too. And as we go along, we'll come and do it. We'll kind of see where we're at the end of the year. To see if we're heading up and we're putting it in appreciation of our windows or
Was the heating, or I'm assuming the windows is to help with the heating bill, which is astronomical.
yeah.
But was the heating system possibly addressed?
Yes, it was, and we just had to pay. The pump was warranty.
Okay.
And we had to pay for the labor to get it in and shipping them up. That's why that.
Boy, you got a little bit more.
Yeah,
You know,
we didn't pay for the labor side. We just paid for the pump.
one done.
Anybody else? Okay, go ahead, John.
Okay, next, let's see, resolution setting the mill levy, that's, 4-2024. And the third one, if you look at the, certification of the mill levy, which is your second page, we are going to use everything but 0.781 mils of it, which will still give us credit, which is about $40,000 saving taxpayers.
That was our decision to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the mill levy last year?
It's always out 17.967.
Okay,
That's what we used last year.
which was the same as last year except for the credit.
Yeah,
Well, the credit.
but we also got more revenue
For that,
with, second.
for such values. Questions? I presume that this, section 2, the zero mills, we're not charging zero mills because we're not dedicated to interest or bond payment.
Yes.
It's all going into that.
Admin and, recreation, swimming pool, water. Not flush. The water.
All right.
Okay. And now you have, next was the board pay discussion, but we talked about, I don't know whether you wanted to go with that, Neil. I was something you wanted to bring up, but.
Well, that's just what I mentioned on designated meeting dates. If we change that to regular meeting, that would fix it.
And so, taking special meetings and then for that.
That's what I'd like to do.
Well, as far as the regular meetings go, like I mentioned before, previous meetings, I don't really want my board to go to people with their utility bill problems, or I don't really want to set that up. If we can determine a viable method of doing that so that it's utilized well and that they can. But I just shouldn't not have.
Causes me tax problems.
I think, I don't know if we want to hamstring the future, but conservation of that to be some bonds. So as far as if you want to donate that, and all $50 whatever, then if the complaint is a claim that, if you donate that or help them set that up and then after you still donate, then claim it.
I don't really want to receive, it's not really, I just assume it will directly to. I'm talking about giving a check and donating it back.
We could, so technically, if we voted to, we can vote with the board of payments to go. We've done the same, can't, then if another board decides they want to get paid, then they can change it at their date. I mean, we're not making a decision for future then we just voluntarily donate it, but we're gonna have to get it to do that.
Well, I'm concerned about creating that fund, as far as the cost of administration of that fund. That's how we set that up, administer it. You know, who is the,
Or can the Fed fund be combined with basically Roundup, Operation Roundup, where we round up people that can volunteer on their bills to round up the nearest dollar. You could take that extra amount and contribute that to the same fund. So it wouldn't be just our $50 a meeting fund, it would be whoever else in the community wanted to volunteer to do that, and have to be set up and controlled. But that would bring in more money, that fund may be viable in the long run if it's set up.
and I think that could be done. My concern would be who's going to manage that. And the decision, who gets the benefits of it. How are we going to, do we want to create those departments to manage that?
I'd like to manage that goal.
Manage that operation, because then we'd have to have, some way of deciding who is going to benefit from it.
Or a committee that would be responsible for deciding who's gonna hand it out.
Who's gonna hand it out?
There's a lot of complications. with
Yeah,
how-
I know, anytime there's a charitable thing, it has to be a nonprofit, it has to be all set up.
Yeah.
But I think Sandy has,
When you're talking about like the LEAP program, they have paperwork, they require you to like put how much your yearly income is. It's gotta fit in between, okay, if there's 2 people in the house or 3 people, and if you're not making this much, then okay, we can give you X amount or something like that. So there would have to be very set criteria or something where we give that and have dollar limits and so forth. But it does get into some more administrative things on, looking at that and saying if you know, and then the dollar amounts, let's say you round up for 50 cents, okay. Administration has to make sure we move that to that special account. Like that, as opposed to if the box is an X, then if they want it to go to their, own account, pay extra.
so are you saying it's not worth it?
I'm saying it's going to be a little bit more, the whole accounting section of it, meaning setting up the program things.
The county has a course to meet with that. When February, for paying the rent. That's, I'm concerned that we will end up. The honest part of the council could be for the full ride for to tell.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I think that, this is worthwhile to talk about, but I think we need a little bit more time.
I agree with that.
So just for, discussion purposes, it's a good thing to talk about, but I think what Sandy said is very important, that we have to be careful about how much money we're spending, be careful.
Well,
How that whole thing works, I have no idea.
let's keep it. That's,
Do that for me.
Do you guys have any other ideas or whatever?
Lotto tickets.
all right, let's move on, Jim.
Okay, next, CCAAC review, we have, new bill there. I'm gonna pull it up. It is, the address on it will be 5045 Lafayette Lane. It's a 1,533 square foot home.
You're not gonna move on.
You know,
That's a battery machine.
it is. Little job.
It looks like on this, CCAAC, it's been recommended approval by Randy.
It was reviewed by him.
Oh, sorry.
was, reviewed, everything was okay. So, ready to go. On the approval,
Batteries on it. I know, that's right.
That's probably like, I'm great, 7 batteries. For the year size.
What we do on the ground.
Any questions from the board on that, CPAC presentation?
The only thing I had a question about was the side, setback. I don't understand, it says required is 15 and it says the actual is 12. How does that work? And don't you need a variance on that?
That would be through, that's through the county.
So the setbacks on the side are, total of 15.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, it's the side or front?
It's not less than 5 on one side, so.
Okay, I got you. 5 minimum, and you have 5 and 10, so you could have 9 and 5, or not, 10 and 5, 10 and 5, yeah, okay, got you. All right.
Anything else? I'm going to read the begin statement. In order for the business of the board to be conducted in a more effective and expeditious manner, it is necessary that all persons present maintain a demeanor of courtesy towards the board, staff, and each other. Conduct that appears threatening or aggressive will not be tolerated. Shouting, speaking out of order, or the use of offensive gestures similar are not acceptable. Such behavior shall constitute the forfeiture of the right to remain in attendance and may, to the point of order, brought to board by council or any board member, including chairperson, resulting in being asked to leave the meeting by the chairperson or, upon refusal, being escorted out of the meeting by the proper authority.
Okay, first I have on the list is great culture.
Okay?
Thank you. My name's Greg Colter. I'm a citizen here, and I know that we kind of ran low on water over the holiday here. Want to say sure appreciate the crew for being out there first. But one thing I would like to know is if there is going to be a situation where we're going to have could get low on water, why wasn't the reverse 911 put out? I'm seldom affected where I live, but I have some neighbors up here at the mobile home park, and they kind of seem to feel it. But if there was reverse 911 call out, whenever there's even a possibility of it, then everyone can conserve water, and it could head this off before it became a real issue.
So are you saying there's a communication issue with the district?
Nobody really knew about it until, you know, a reverse 911 is one way to get.
Because I'll say if there's a communication issue.
Yeah, there is. Is that what we're all cut? And then the thing is with 911, there's a certain criteria. I'll have to pull up the criteria to see, because I know we can't just do a 911 call if we think we're going to at this point. It has to be a definite that this is just like an emergency call out. And that's what I'm saying. That way the whole town can reduce the usage, which would help not just the zones that are going to run out first. But that's just a suggestion I have to look at on there, because we all know we have some issues here, and this will let the people know, hey, we have issues. And secondly, it's not the operator's fault. They kind of got into this. And I have a lady who called in and she hasn't received a call back because during this time she got some brown turbid water
and she said she never had a call back. And one other thing that this could hurt is boiler systems in there, whenever they run low on pressure, water actually comes in and feeds it. If you're one of those low places with no water, it can burn that boiler up. And this way that people there will have the option to shut their heat off and save the cost of a new boiler. And those were the items I wanted to bring up. One other quick item, and Jim, I hope you agree with this, but every board meeting I hear about the lake level report. And there could be an executive report that's printed out each month that actually gives the graph of these levels, so he doesn't have to call the feed out, because calling these feed out, one thing, it takes time. Secondly, it's hard to visually see it. Would an executive report like that save time and be more efficient?
What I done did is put it on a Excel sheet, they can look down how much is from P1, from 2, which 3, sorry, and the changes as the level of the lead changes, so they can see that in a number form, but not in a graph.
Right, you can put a graph right off to the side and say, red for low, green for high, and that way it's an executive report. Just as a change rather than calling numbers out. But that's all I have, and once again, I'm not up here to complain. The crew did a great job, and they had to work over the holidays while we're inside.
Thank you. Okay, next, Alex, how do you, because we let you go on last one. Okay, all right. Bill?
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Doyle. I live down in the North Park area, where I've been for a couple of years. I've been in the district, in the city. I've been here 29 years with my family, and we understand the infrastructure and funding problems that our city is going through. Over the last 3 weeks, we've had sewage issues. Jim can attest to this. 2 of those weeks, I've had sewage flowing, raw sewage, biohazard raw sewage flowing into my yard. It's coming up from the 2-inch pipe from the restaurant area to my house and pouring out into my yard. The first time that we had a problem on the 22nd of December, notifications were sent out and the bar was closed. I didn't have sewage that day. On the 30th, at 8 o'clock, I found sewage flowing out of the city's drain into my yard. I called, talked to, I don't know who it was that time, expressed my concerns and what was going on. I was told we'll be out in a minute. All right, as soon as we can, we're working on the plug. I didn't get another call, and at 11:45, I called again, talked to Jim. He showed up. He said, "Yep, it's flowing. We're working on the plug." At that time, there was no mitigation. There was no plan for cleanup. There was no plan to do anything for the sewage flowing into my yard. And no further contact after that. I wasn't contacted the next day. I wasn't contacted, which obviously that would have been New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I understand it. People have their lives also, but I had sewage in my yard. Raw sewage that is a biohazard. Well, I called on the 3rd to ask for someone to come out and clean it. And the secretary told me that they were going to send a message to the work crews, but they were busy. And I understand. I know we're busy, we're falling apart. Unfortunately, every time that we have a football game and the bar is full, we have problems in the last month. That's been the problems that it shows up. And on the 30th, the bar wasn't closed. No notification. I never got a notification on that day at the door or on the Facebook, nothing. So come the 7th, Sunday at 1:50, I go out front and I have raw sewage pouring into my yard again. Pouring into my yard. And I call and Jim says, "I'll be there in a bit." I think I talked to you. He shows up. I didn't know that they've been working since 11 o'clock because my wife checked the social media page and the website, and there was no notification to say, "We're having an issue in North Park, please don't flush." The bar is wide open. the Bronco game is just about to start, and they have a full parking lot with drinkers, eaters, and we all know what follows after you drink and eat. Jim shows up, and I'll admit, I'm hot. I'm a little upset because I've got sewage going in my yard. Jim gets out of the car, and he's been working for hours. I'm sure he's upset. I understand that. But me as a customer, I'm trying to vent my displeasure, and he gets mad and says, well, I'll just leave, and starts to go back to his car. I have to de-escalate and try to apologize for me being upset for sewage in my yard. And I know, Jim, you're working hard. I get it. I get that you're tired, your guys are tired, but we can't have, as a former city employee of another city, if I did something like that to someone when I arrived on scene and said, fine, you're upset, I'm getting in my car, I would have days off, or I would have been fired, period. And I get it. Jim calmed down, and we had a good conversation about what was going on. He saw the stuff and said, we're working on the plug, and he left. No mitigation, nothing else. And I get it. He was trying to get the whole community served. Well, at about 5:55, as the Bronco game is ending, obviously, I'm getting even more stuff flowing out. Jim comes up with a pump and a hose, drops it down in there. I run him a power cord, and he runs the hose over to the school property. I asked Jim, who do we need to notify? Who do we need to notify on this? That's a biohazard. There's kids there, there's people walk their dogs. And he said, it'll be fine as long as they're not there. All right. We need some more training on that if that's our proper response. He said, please check it. If it's empty, unplug it. I spent the next couple hours checking the pump. It had taken it down. He came back probably around 9 o'clock, checked it. It was down to the sludge. He unplugged it. And just asked me, hey, check it in the night if you can. If it's full, plug it back in. I went out at 3 o'clock. It's full and pouring again. And the hoses froze up. The pump can't move it because that was, 2 nights ago when it was full. So now I have more sewage coming into my yard, getting towards my house. Jim said he was going to check in the morning. And I know apparently you were off sick that day. No one came. Checked the website, 10 o'clock. They were supposed to be at work. No one came. I can't get anybody to call me back. I have more sewage pouring into my yard, getting to my house. I call health services, our Department of Health and health department in front of. I call them. I ask them, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm safe and I'm not doing this? And he said, yeah, I explained the situation, and the gentleman said, all right, let me do some checking. About 12 o'clock, crew shows up, 5 or 6 of them. They look at the pump, they see the hose, and they start driving away. They come back 30 minutes later, and they have a longer hose. They're stretching it to my neighbor's yard to dump it into his yard. So I asked the guy, are you going to dump that in his yard? And he looks at me and says, in an aggressive manner, where do you want me to dump it? All I can think is, all right, we already have one hazmat site in my yard. We have another one across the street. Now you're going to damage my neighbor's yard? How is that even common sense? I asked, don't you have a dump tank or anything you can put this in instead of just letting it in someone's yard? And I'm thinking to myself, how is this possible that we don't have a suck truck or something? Well, turns out it's broken. I get that. Well, I say, let me call my neighbor. And he says, let me call my boss. A couple minutes later, they drive off. I called Jim, not knowing that he was off. He did answer. I appreciate that. And like I said, after our first 2 minutes, Jim's been nothing but professional. Nothing but professional and decent. He says, let me call my guys. Well, his guys, the one that showed up was Aiden. I'd never met Aiden before. I probably talked to him on the phone on one of these emergency situations. He arrived, and I was told by him not to interfere with his guys. I was also told and threatened that if he received another call from the health department, he was going to come pull the pump and his guys and let the sewage flow into my house. I was threatened by a district employee because I have a hazmat serious spill in my front yard going into my house. It is at my foundation. And this is what he does. I'm shocked that that was acceptable. I told him, don't threaten me. And he said, it's not a threat. It's just what I'm going to do. That's a threat. I mean, if you do that to the wrong little old lady, you scare her to death. That's all it takes for harassment in this country, right? He could be arrested for that. That's ridiculous to threaten someone. Well, we go around and around a little bit about don't threaten me type stuff. We calm down a little bit, and I asked him about the notifications because I never got a notification. He said, you were notified. You must not have been home. I was home all day Sunday. Nobody came to my house. I did not know about the spill and the clog until 1:50 when I called Jim. I asked him about how come the bar was left open. He says, we don't have the power to close them. How can we not have the power to say, your utilities are clogged, you have to close? That's unbelievable to me. And then I asked him about when the cleanup was going to be done. And I have 24 hours to clean it up. Well, this was at after 1 o'clock on Monday, and I reported the problem at 1:50. So that's the first 24 hours. And then what about the other 240 hours for the 10 days that I was waiting for the first spill that nobody came? I never got anybody out there to clean up their mess. So he got a pump going. He got his crew out there with some lime, and they started mitigations. They actually got a truck with a water tank that they were actually pumping it in. So processes were happening. But here's the biggest concern, because I have neighbors here that are in the same boat. They've had sewage pumped onto their property. They've had sewage show up in their house. They've had sewage show up in their basement. And this is not the first time it's happened, because if we have a blockage, we let a business have triple the population of the 7 houses that are on that line, fill that line, that 2-inch line, with grease from the kitchen and everything else. I know that they have a grease trap, and they started using it how long ago?
They used it all the time.
I heard from somebody that's been within the last year or so that they finally started.
It was put in 1993.
Okay, well, so where is all the grease coming from? It's not coming from somebody rendering buffalo in the neighborhood. It's coming from one business.
No,
And it's coming from somewhere.
no, it's,
Okay, and
You
and
watch
I
the
think
dishes?
the order was no interruptions.
alright,
Thank you. So wherever that's coming from, our 2-inch line cannot handle it. Our 2-inch line blocks up every time that they have 50 people in there. And once it starts slowing down, I get sewage water, raw sewage, biohazard in my front yard. 2 weeks running. I have playoffs and Super Bowl coming up. You tell me, am I scared to death that there's going to be more in my yard? That's the functionality problem of it. And I get it. We're low on money. We've inherited a problem. And I'll tell you, we've been here for 29 years. I know most of you have been here probably that long or close to anyway, if not longer. When are we going to stop using that as an excuse and just own up? We inherited that problem. Well, okay, we can't keep saying that. That doesn't mean anything anymore. That just means you're giving me an excuse. You're giving us an excuse that we don't have the priority to give you what you need because we inherited this problem. That's not the way to approach this. And I've heard it any time that we've had a problem and I've talked to someone. It can't keep going like that. We need to stop doing that. We need to, as a district, take responsibility. As to the employees that have attitudes and upset, in my former job, I had training to deal with that. That was what I did. I dealt with people's problems. And I had training as to how to respond to that customer, because we are customers of the district. We are your bread and butter. for this district. We are what keeps this place going. If we all moved out, there's nothing, right? And I love it here. I've been here long enough. This is my home. I've been here more than half my life. I want to stay here until I'm dead and buried. But we have to have customer service that doesn't just go, we inherited that problem. We have to have customer service that isn't willing to yell and walk away from somebody. And again, I know you were hot. I know you were busy. I had no idea you were busy. And when you show up to somebody's house that hot, you might have to take a second and then just go, okay, tell me what your problem is. And then say, okay, this is what our solution is. And yes, maybe that takes an extra 3 minutes of your time. But that makes the customer much more happy than, I'm going to get in my car and leave, if you could just have it. Or threatening a customer. I know every one of you, if you had feces flowing into your yard, approaching your house, you would be more animated than I am now. I can't imagine anyone in this building with that coming towards their house, saying, oh, Joy, look. And I'm sure it's scary. You're thinking, what is going to happen? How much is this going to cost me? Where do I have to go to get this fixed? And then we have the notification thing. We've already covered it a little bit. How are we so far behind that today the bar was open at 10:45? The bar posted that they were open, people were coming in, and yet everyone on that street hadn't received any notification. I called Jim, I said, what's going on, Jim? I just went by the bar, it's open, are we good? And he tells me, well, they're just about done. And I asked, can I use my facilities? And he's kind of gave me that, yeah. Well, that's the only notification I got was because I called him directly. I previously I'd called the office because I thought I didn't know if you were busy, if you were doing whatever, and they put me in contact with him. How do we let a business stay in operation when people are getting sewage in their yard? When we can't use the bathroom, but technically I could walk down and use the bathroom at the clubhouse. That makes zero sense to me. We need a better way to tell them to stop. Aiden told me he couldn't get them to stop. Well, he also told me if he received another call from the health department, he was going to pull my pump. He needs some training. That is not customer service. That is not proper way to handle the situation. And if you don't have enough to tell somebody you need to close your business, you're flooding people's houses and yards, then you need training on how to deal with that. Period. Out of all of us, I think we are all just frustrated beyond belief that this has happened 3 weeks in a row. And I know 2-inch line doesn't handle a business like that. It can't. And we prove it every time. I don't want to just keep venting up here because that's not what you're here. I hope that you understand our frustration as a community that this has to have something happen. Whether it's we got to dig another line for the business, or we got to dig a whole new sewer line for the whole seven houses. We are not producing enough to block that thing, but it needs to be addressed and fixed as soon as possible.
Then you find a couple of them.
Hang on. Who else? Who else on this?
Oh, I got, I'm sorry, Dave and Marla. Did you want to add anything?
I would like to add
Okay.
something. I just have a question here.
Okay.
As Bill commented, he said 7 houses on the line. Doing research, there's a total of 16 houses. Okay, so, we were getting bad information. I'm gonna say there was only 7 houses. There's 16 plus the clubhouse. Health department says 2-inch line can handle max 10 houses. Okay, so Marla, did you?
Marla. Thank you.
So I just wanted to let my neighbors know and everybody else know that it is not 7 houses, it's 16 plus a 10. Okay, and that is totally unacceptable according to the health department, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
My personal opinion, a 2-inch line shouldn't be on one house.
Hang on, let's get a comment. Who else want to say something?
Yeah, Dave.
I would like to say that when this happened, it stunk. And I agree with Bill's saying, I agree with Marla's saying. My wife down that basement, whether you know it or not, sat there for 3 hours, sucking up poop and clean our basement and crawl space. I don't know what you board think about it. You're probably thinking, well, I don't care. It's not affecting me, which it isn't. I'm sure you live in great houses. It affected me, and to see my wife down there at 75 years old sucking up poop because it failed, and we never charged that. All I did was charge what really hurt me, and it hurt me more. I charged $1,000 for my wife to be down there sucking up that shit, that stuff. So I don't know how you board feel about it, but it stinks living there. I go to bed every night thinking, am I gonna wake up to an alarm? Am I gonna have to go out there and set my pump down in that hole and pump everything out? So, I mean, I know you guys don't, it's frustrating as hell. It's frustrating to have to see our neighbors have to deal with it, we have to deal with it. And, you know, write all your notes down, figure out what you're gonna do, but it stinks. And I'm stuck with it. You're not, we are, you are, we are stuck with it. And it hurts to see my wife down there sucking up crap. Not worth it. You gotta figure something out. Sorry. It's not worth it.
Thank you, man. Who's next? Joe? Kevin, who's on?
Yeah. Go ahead. You.
Pressure gauge.
Yeah, I just want to say I've worked on water place. And it does concern me a little bit that the 2-inch line has never been an issue. Hadn't been an issue, but now it's a big issue. And I know a lot of you guys, don't live in that area, but I kind of like my customers and I go in there and I do what I can. I'm just kind of curious, what is your guys, have you ever discussed this issue with amongst yourselves to see what we can do about it?
This is the first time we've had issues on that was this year. For the last, how long did you live there, Dave?
We've been here 10 years.
Have you ever had a problem?
Just,
Last
we,
May I did.
yeah, last May,
That's
you
for
do
one.
response.
$2,000 I had to pay for a new pump and a new shut off valve because my pump couldn't hold the pressure of the pipes. So, my house was 2 years old, so I would.
Go ahead.
And I don't know, I just think that, I know money is a big issue, I get that. But have we ever thought about maybe putting backwater valves to protect their houses? And try to put something there along the line to,
Well, there is,
they have shut off valves, they have shut off valves, but
there should be one at every cap. At every cap, there should be.
You told me I don't have one.
And I talked to the guy that put it in, and that was what it is your backflow valve has broke loose. And that's why it's coming up now.
so he
On
had,
your side or my side? Your side.
Let's go ahead, let's get to, we get the comment through.
so he's got a backwater, he's got
A check valve.
check valve inside his pit. But is there any way, and I don't know what the cost could be, I mean, I'm sure it could be expensive when you start talking about 10 houses or whatever. But isn't that something that we could probably look at further down the road?
Alarm system or something.
A bigger system, I know a bigger system is gonna cost way much more. You're gonna have to dig up the whole roads, and I get that, I understand that. I'm just trying to help, my customers, because like I said, I charge a little bit to get in those pits. And, I've already replaced theirs twice, and I put another check valve in. I checked pressure on the water line coming into the pit. It was at 20 pounds pressure when I looked at tested his pump, and then it was greater than what the pump was actually being able to push out. And it destroyed his last check valve. I'm just trying to help everybody in the community there, try to see if there's something cheap that we can do. Just a temporary fix so this doesn't continue to happen.
Temporary fixes. We need to replace that.
I understand,
Upgrade it to code,
yes,
redo the entire.
we need at least a 4-inch line
Needs
main.
to go. Especially if we're gonna have a restaurant or bar along with 16 houses.
So I was just kind of curious, if this is one of the things you guys are gonna start discussing about so heartily and
It is,
try to see
and
what can be
that's,
done about that.
that's one of the things is there used to be, there is a 4 or 6 inch line there.
There's an 8 inch, but it's all collapsed and it's full of groundwater.
And
That's why this line was put in.
So that line was put in after the fact of that 8-inch collapsing.
Why was the 2-inch line replacing an 8-inch line?
Because of the groundwater. North Park is full of groundwater.
First, let's get all the comments. That's it? Okay. Go ahead.
That's all, that's, I know it's kind of a weird thing to do and say about trying to get, just putting those backwater valves in there. But at least I buy you some time and keep your customers and everybody that's paying these taxes to do, so that nothing comes back into their sewer, into their house. Cause I know Marlin down for a little bit, and it sucks. I've been in there before, but I think that was probably a cheap fix for right now until you can get whatever needs to be done. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Very good.
One thing I'd like to say on the collection lines is you got the GIS maps now. All of these leaks and backflows and the reports on them been reported on that so that now we can actually get a tally. This is where we have trouble, this will be the cost, and can do the whole district and then pick our priority.
All right, Jim, do you want to, Rick, you have something to say?
Well,
to just a.
I know, but I mean, when Clint called me earlier, I freaking got, so just to address you, I've had sewer in my basement.
Well, good, so.
Okay, so I know exactly what you're talking about. It pissed me off, excuse my language, like you wouldn't believe when Clint called. And Clint can testify to it. I was very upset that you guys are going. And I'm not gonna get on a rant here.
No,
I can tell you this, I had no knowledge, and I've been on this board the longest out of everybody here right now. But I had no knowledge you guys had a 2-inch line. None. I had no knowledge that this sewer was backing up until Clint called. That is a communication problem.
We have a big time communication.
Huge communication problem.
A lot of people understand we have infrastructure issues and they're tired of hearing that, but the bigger issue that's pissing people off is the fact that we can't communicate effectively in a timely manner. That's part of the problem. People don't even know. They ask a question, can they take a shower? Nobody responds.
I mean, I got something simple as a broken gun comes into my store. I send it back with the repair guy. We won't have that gun for any longer than maybe 3 or 4 hours. And we will have a phone call into that gentleman, telling him what we got to do, what it's going to take, and how long it's going to take. There is no reason why, how many houses are on this line?
16.
16 houses. There's no stinking reason why those 16 houses couldn't have been notified. None. There's no excuse for that.
And the first time it did. I went.
The first time on the 22nd, we handled it fairly well.
Yes.
The 30th, no. The 7th, no.
Yeah.
And then as far as being able to shut down a business, that's hogwash.
Yeah, no.
All you had to do was call the health department.
Yeah.
You go down and you tell them, hey, you're flooding your neighbors with a bunch of crap. Okay, any business owner that's worth his salt would shut the business down. I would shut mine down in a heartbeat. Okay, and if they didn't shut it down, then all you gotta do is pick up the telephone and call the health department.
Okay. No,
I know I'm on a rant, but I mean, you know how upset I was when Clint called.
I'd like to say one other thing too, that we still have people going to Circle K to use their bathroom facilities and take a shower, and we got bar open. You know what that does to people's attitude? That's crazy.
Well, Jim, do you want to respond?
Today, when you did call and asked why bother them. I thought it would be fixed by 2. I talked to him this morning at 8 o'clock. Asked him where we were at, what we were doing, so we ran out of water. We jetted it, we got it cleaned out. We should be starting to put stuff back together. Okay, so that's when Becky called me and asked me, can I open today? I said, well, it'll probably be about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, that she can do it. I don't know what happened, why they didn't get it done by that time. That was on my back, yes.
She does it at 10:45.
Well, she opens to fire up her stove and get prepared and stuff like that. That's normal for a restaurant. Yeah, that was my bad. As for when I was telling you, I did talk to Matt to figure out why your system is leaking there. And I don't know. He was the one that put it in. Asked him, what is actually in that pit? He says, it's a check valve. It should have checked. I said, well, it isn't. It's coming up through that pit. He says, well, the county makes him now, if there is a check valve, to put a pit over it. So that way, and burn coats, that rubber that they can pull it out, if that valve goes bad, pull it out, put a new one in. So he said, most likely that's what happened with yours, is that the burn coat slid out, and that's where you're coming up. So,
2-year-old house, and it's has that problem.
around your house, it's, yeah.
And is that a map from Little Diggers?
Yeah. I talked to your mom. Because I told him, why would this happen? Which, in a sense, it ain't going to go into your basement, because it ain't going to overflow your pit or anything like that.
Well, it's coming down toward my foundation. I've got a lake of sewage in my front yard.
I understand.
And one other question, what's the mitigation gonna be for my house?
Well, we went over and did put line down, and, only solution for it is dilution, which is, unless you want all of that pulled out and replaced.
And if that's what it needs, it's covered in sewage and lime. It's gotta be done. I mean, your house has to be cleaned. I mean, this is, I don't know what the cost of that 6-inch line is, but how many times are we gonna have to replace and redo something?
I agree with you.
I mean, at my house, I don't know, so far it hasn't made it into my crawl space. Your house, you got it.
No.
In the yard, you got it, you got it in your front yard though, needs cleaned up, and what we have in the crawl space of the other, and I mean, it needs to be taken care of. You can't just spread lie and, oh, there you go on the fly.
There's a couple of additional issues as well, because we don't have a suckback truck. When they're digging out broken sewer line, where's that sewer water going?
No, that's across the street. Yeah.
And the same thing with his pit leaking, where'd that sewer water go? The school district, did anybody from the district notify the school district that they have raw sewage put?
It isn't on school district property. It's not on right away.
No, it's in school district property. I can show you the property bin where the right of way's at.
I'm not arguing with you, I'm just saying that was my understanding that it was in our right away.
Do you know how big a pool is over there? Because the snow blew over overnight.
And I'll have my guys go in with,
The property's about 3 foot off edge of asphalt. Just so you know.
okay. Now I'll have the guys go over there with the skidster and.
Because nobody contacted the school district. You know that's required by law?
I did.
They were a little upset about that.
Okay.
And as far as I know, nobody's marked it, like I asked Neil to inform me to do.
And I talked to you guys, by the time I left you from you, it was 3 o'clock, and I went over there and told them that they needed it.
The crews need to know where it cooled up. They could ask Bill, he was there when it cooled up.
So, man, so, we've got a huge, lack of training here
And I don't know, I mean, I'd be upset even if I was notified. But I think if we at least notified, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if we at least notified you guys what was going on, you probably wouldn't be quite as, I still would be kind of pissed. But I don't think you guys would be quite as upset as you are right now, if we were keeping you in the loop, would you?
No, and you know, the biggest part that I have, like you said, we've been here for 29 years. And it feels very disrespectful that we're not notified. This was our dream house, okay? We decided to stay in Colorado City. We moved from one house to our dream house here in Colorado City. And now I have a lake of poo in my front yard that we had to deal with. My husband had to get up in the middle of the night to handle poo. I don't know if you guys understand what biohazard that is. It's for your lungs. It is, you could step in it, the dogs can step in it. If you have someone who is immune compromised or has health issues, it can actually kill somebody. It is not just poop outside that dries up. It doesn't go away. The bacteria stays.
So
So yes, if I had been notified, it would have been better.
that's extremely serious problem.
Very bad.
Do that, and I think they're all that. But we're not trying to pass this off at all. I think the board probably was not aware of all of the problems and appreciate knowing about it because I need to monitor it. So, but the big issue in front of us right now is corrective action. And the corrective action is in communication as well as dealing with that line. But we need to, the communication issue, we've talked about that. We need to take corrective action.
I'd like to add that the Department of Public Health and Environment is here for all of our protection. It should be your partner. It shouldn't be someone that you don't want to call because you might get in trouble. They are there to help mitigate, to help you with ideas, and they are there for me and all public to call and say help. And that we were told that they were gonna let the feces and raw sewage run to our house because we had the nerve to call the health department to say help. It's absolutely disgusting. And it just broke my trust. 29 years.
That's part of what we have to look at as part of corrective action for us, the training of the employees as well. But no, that's not that. It's not that.
Mr. Chairman, doesn't the county have a hazmat unit? Isn't there a hazmat unit that can come and help us out? I mean, how come I can't envision a situation on the highway if somebody spills diesel, but they don't have a hazmat? They do. They always do. It would seem to me that this is a much more serious situation from a biohazard standpoint. And we should be able to call somebody and say, we need help. Couldn't we call Pueblo and then send us some truck help?
Well, and then
I mean, my question
I
is.
did reach out to Brookfield to see if we could get him, this truck is in trouble. Called, Rice Septic, his was down. So it was like.
What about the county?
And so then what we ended up doing, I didn't go out. And I should have. But
I don't know how many times some people have campers sitting around, they don't know anything about that, it's probably gonna be fine to do anything. They'll tell you they don't.
Well, at least we should have tried.
No, I
that was-
agree.
that was my fault.
Well, the bigger issue is we need operable suckback trucks so that we don't have to dump raw sewage outside of our work area.
I agree with Mr. Chairman.
And I also think that it would be suitable for, the district to contact somebody like ServPro, somebody who specializes in cleanup of this sort, and take care of these people that have been wronged. I don't think
think you should have to go into a house, like you said, that has, bacteria and whatever floating around in the air.
I mean, when I heard that Marla was down there cleaning that up, that's a health risk,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and yeah.
So when it happened to my house about 12 years ago, I had muckalux on, a shop vac, and freaking gloves on downstairs.
Yeah.
Filling a 5-gallon shop vac and taking it outside and dumping it. It was horrid.
That's what I did.
But that, to me, that isn't right.
No,
Well, it's not right.
To me,
It's
to
not right.
have Marla go down there and do that, and not charge Metro, because we're scared of the board, like, oh my God, you know, you're over there looking at something, well, what are we gonna do? She went down there and sucked all that shit out. Our installation is still sold from that. So, is it good for us to live in that house? Probably, whatever, we're going to, I love the house, but really, yeah, when we call out and say it,
Board is sad.
No, you shouldn't be.
It's sad. That's sad.
Sure.
That's a trust issue because we don't have any.
and to this point, do we know if I go home and flush my toilet? That's what I'm wondering. So we don't get
I don't know yet. I don't know.
When the bar's
There's
open, the
no-
toilets are working. You not see that, the irony of that, Jim?
The thing about it is draining, yes, it is draining.
But the bar so technically we could go to the bar and use their toilets, even though they're on the same sewer line. But technically, everybody else that's on that line should.
We went down, and we have 2 100-gallon grinders that are down there. We were both of them.
They're in my yard.
Well, her deal is on your side.
It's
And right now, all that stuff is going down in Aaron's front yard.
Yeah. So let's let
But
Blake
it's
take
still-
control on his side. Let's not take responsibility for it.
yeah.
It's not anything that feel on my part, it's the district plan is still. So are we going to, are you?
Yeah, I'll have them come down there.
I'll get with you tomorrow, we'll see when they're doing, that's what I'll do. And Circle, we're gonna have
All the different signals, all
and what they can do for you. Alright. Now, I will say on that trust issue, being threatened and having my wife now scared to go to the door if it's certain people from the district, that is
no,
weird.
you shouldn't.
Well, okay, but,
You shouldn't.
but then we have reprisals that might be coming, because, when you showed up, yes, you were hot, but we worked it through and you
Yeah.
helped me every time.
We say,
And then
I'm down.
every time that I look out there, she scares me going out there, because those guys are giving me shit eyes. And they're mad because I called
No.
for help
they
from the
shouldn't.
health department.
They shouldn't. No, I will direct on.
Thank you. I mean, they need some resolution, customer service training.
I'm good.
So, correct that.
You better know.
Alright, so you are going to have a poll on how much longer we go.
What I get out of this is basically communication. And, certainly training our customer relations.
So, gonna
Training
go.
our put a random and fix it. And move forward, but so anybody else.
And I think we need to consider hiring Servpro or somebody to take care of the people who have an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think that you guys, Dave, I don't think you guys have the training to do that.
No, I don't know what's down on basement.
I think that, yeah, what kind of bugs are that? You need to have somebody professionally come in to try and assess it, clean it up, like what is there saying, like it never happened. That's what, no,
The insulation, like the insulation that's so, it's so.
Oh, yeah, just pour it down the wall.
No, sir,
Yeah.
All of this stuff should be in our work order somewhere. All of these things need to be recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
not
it
saying
should,
that's gonna give you time.
I mean, that is what we pay insurance for too.
Yeah.
This should be an insurance.
Well, it started out from the first one, Dave's, was his. The other, now it's added up. And that's one of the things that we're going to file it in is one thing, because this happened now for all these houses.
And one more thing I'd like to say, Mr. Chairman. This is the first I've heard. Didn't hear about it.
3 weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks.
It's 3 weeks, and this is me stepping on the rink in a public meeting. For the first time.
Well, it's been, the first time it happened was posted.
I know, but see, it's different when you say you've got a sewer problem in North Park. And then it's different from saying somebody's got sewage flowing into their basement from that problem. Those are two completely different things. I mean, and I have to apologize for the district. I don't know really, that doesn't mean anything, but, it's the communication. I mean, no idea, just they're having problems with the sewer.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, had we, been notified that there was some type of a problem there, we could have turned our shut-off valve off and we wouldn't have gotten sewage into our basement. But we didn't know, so what we did is when our alarm went off, we shut our pump off and said, we're not gonna put any more water in it, it should not be a problem, not knowing that it was coming from the line into the house. You know, in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, all you smell is sewage, and Dave and I look at it, where is this coming from? And then, of course,
We found out.
we found out it's all in the crawl space. But had we been notified or just some type of heads up, because there is a safety system that we can use. We can shut it off, but not knowing,
you know.
yeah, not knowing,
If you
just wanted to mention. Communication again.
Well, both communication and training, we've got a serious training problem with as well.
Well, and then, quite frankly, which we're trying to address this, but we got a personnel problem, because, Aiden, as far as I know, he's a pretty good person. And I think the reason why he probably lost his cool with you is because he's been worked like a dog, okay, for the past 2-3 weeks. I mean, they get worked like dogs,
I understand.
which I've had a problem with now for some time. And we've been trying to solve that problem, which this budget addresses some of it. We gotta get people hired, we gotta get them trained. But I'm afraid that is one of Aiden's problems is he was probably at the end of maybe 24 hours up. And
No, this was at, the afternoon of, Monday. So he had his 10 hours off from,
did he have his 10
well,
hours?
3 hours, from 3 in the morning till 10, so 7 hours. He had his 7 hours and was at my 4 hours. So he had time off and time away. And I understand being upset. I also know that every else that I did before, I stepped into, I was a police officer for 30 years. I stepped into the maddest people you've ever found. And if I did what he did and threatened them, I would have been a cop for about 2 minutes. And I probably would have been in prison.
There's no excuse, regardless of time.
Well, there's no excuse, I'm just saying that, and I'm not trying to make an excuse.
No,
That for training is
Yes,
huge.
he
You need
needs
to
some training.
understand how to respond to someone in crisis. And that is the biggest thing I think that can be maybe tapped on, is they are in the public. They are dealing with the public. They may think that what they're doing is working with the water lines, doing all of that, but they are actually public people out there who are representing the district.
So we need people to train people, and we need public information officer, we need a PRO. We're looking for help. There are 3,000 people in this valley. There's gotta be somebody out there that would love that job voluntarily. Can't afford to pay much.
We can't afford to pay anything.
So, yeah, everybody's interested.
just as a suggestion, as a stopgap, even if it's on a Monday, you have staff in here. It's an emergency situation. You have 16 houses on the line. They know our phone numbers. They could send out a text. if it's an emergency, if you got authorization from everybody who's part of the sewage system to receive text messages, you could have it planned out where this is a group, I send a text and send it out. And everybody gets that.
One time,
Everybody gets it, whether it's citywide or whether it's,
well, it's free if you do a group text.
yeah, and there's, you could just send it to whatever group you need it to out of, you could have different zones. And instead of having to call you and say, they're open, how can I use the bathroom? I mean, they send a text, we're still working on it. They call you and say, are they done? No, okay, send out another text, they're still working.
And that's part of it too. It's both ways, because a lot of times, you don't even get a phone call. A lot of times you go to the door, nobody answers. And that's where that communication breaks down, because it's like, oh, spending an hour.
You have a website, and there's nothing posted on the website.
Well,
There's
and
much
if
time
you-
and money to post something on our own website.
If you're gonna go door to door, have a little sign, a little seat, thing that we were by, we have a sewage issue. Please don't flush, keep it on the door. And that way, you've at least attempted everything you can. If you don't wanna send a text, if you can't send a text, how simple it is, a piece of tape with a form that you printed out, where you can just fill in, this is what's going on, this is the emergency, this is what you need, tape it on the door so that you at least have a chance to say, yeah, it is here, look, right on your door, it's right there, we did notify you. I mean, it might not get to everybody's at that door, but at least it's better than, hey, take a guess.
We need to exhaust all means of communication.
So before anybody leaves, is it okay for them to use their reference facility?
I usually go with this.
We are probably 35 minutes from being done.
All right, Circle K it is.
Circle K it is.
You could use ours.
No, we're gonna go.
We're kind of in the last hole right now.
See you in 30 days.
In 30 days when the sewer tax.
No. Hopefully, it won't.
Oh, no.
One of the things that
Go, Joe.
we,
Can I say something? If that's okay? I'd like to just extend my thanks, to them for what they are trying to do and they're trying to get on top of it. I know because I had the snake lines myself and it's, no fun, but I think that, they're doing the very best.
I wanna thank the board crews for being at work.
So I
I
appreciate
want to thank Jim. He did a tremendous job with them guys up there, 24/7, trying to figure out what they could do. So I hope you understand our frustration, but I do appreciate what Jim is doing, having us guys work 24/7 to help us. Just help us clean up.
The work ethic's not questioned, and the amount of work that's put in is tremendous.
It is.
Even Jim gets out for just, communication is where everything's falling apart.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
And I want to first, before I leave, say thank you for your hard work, and thank you for being decent with me. It made me feel, thank you for letting me ramp a little bit, guys, I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'll get a hold of Matt in the morning. I'll get a hold of Matt in the morning and also, but hopefully this is, end it. We thought we had it done the first time we backed up and we didn't get it to your house. And that second time we did get to your house.
Well,
And
and
we dug it up again and we got it cleared. It ran great for a week. And
well, I didn't, when you told me I didn't have a valve on my line yesterday, or what was that, Sunday? I guess you told me that. That's why it was coming through. I didn't know why I didn't have a valve on that, but if you get Matt out there, we can get it.
there is a check valve there and I think it just slid and that's why it's done.
All right, perfect. Well, I'll, if I don't hear from you by noon or so, I'll give you a call.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, have we, beat this up and up?
Yeah, but before we move on, I would like us to set this up for the next agenda, for study session to discuss that line, and a little bit further, because I think we need to set up a long-term solution.
Yes.
to solve this problem, because a 2-inch line feeding a restaurant, and that's just insane. That's just, and whoever came up with the idea of putting that 2-inch line should be used as a public spectacle. I mean, that's insane. We need to come up with a solution, to fix that, to budget it and to fix that long term.
One of the things that I was looking at is, and Reagan and I have discussed it, what that old line was. Is there a possibility of sleeving it and having a little bit dump back into it, and we're researching that. The other thing would be, mostly putting a whole new line all the way through it.
Well, what about doing it in sections, starting down at where it goes into the big line, and budgeting every year to change 500 feet, and doing it in sections, every year or so.
Well, if you don't take
The reason we
beginning out,
can't do that, once
till
we
o'clock.
start, if we wanna go back into the main, we've gotta tie back into the mother line that runs the highway. But there is so much groundwater in North Park, that's why they abandoned that.
But if
And it's fractured.
So I'm not talking about that line, I'm talking about replacing the 2-inch line,
The
starting where
2-inch
it goes in, maybe replacing it 500 or 1,000 feet at a time every year, so that at the end of 4 or 5 years, the project's done.
Well,
if you wanna go at least to a 6 or an 8-inch line through there.
But that's the idea of the 2-inch pressure line. From the way that it's been explained to me, that each pump, yes, they only have X amount of discharge pressure. Takes it from your pit
It should
to
be-
our line. And then it just kind of lays there. It doesn't gravity flow. The next pump comes on, takes it, and then it moves on down. It's a chain reaction.
So this is, it's all
Yeah.
engineering stuff. We do need to look forward to what's going forward. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to set it up for next meeting for a study session.
if you guys will give me your numbers, when we have problems, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say, Mr. Galladay.
I have more time. I was at the water plant this whole time, this whole ordeal, working there. So that took me out of the loop. But if you give me your numbers, I will call you in the middle of the night when this is going on. I'll let you know what's happening.
Mr. Chairman, exactly what Mr. Galladay was saying. We need to, I agree with Mr. Collins about getting it on the next, meeting, but we need immediately to set up a communications network. Not, like tomorrow.
Yep.
And we need to get that part, and that's the part that doesn't cost anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and all you gotta do is call one of us board members. We can maybe take turns, or our illustrious leader here can be the pivot man. But one board member is notified immediately, so that they can notify the rest of them. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to make 5 phone calls, you can make 1. And then that board member can notify the rest of us.
So I agree with the communication. The other thing, meeting tomorrow, is that we need to address the customer relation. Just really bothers me. If those
I'll talk to them.
comments are made.
See, that's how I handled it. For sure. Then gonna handle that way again.
Any more for that?
No, I just, to raise point, we need to, I don't know if it needs to be set up as part of the meeting, but also long-term communication for the entire metro district, how we are talking. What we're gonna use and what's gonna be disseminated and how often, because to me, it should be like every couple of hours during an outage. I'm not expecting the crews in the field to stop what they're doing and get on the internet, put out something on Facebook, but they can certainly be checked into by somebody in the office that's assigned that duty. And give updates on our Facebook page, on their website, and the community pages. For nothing. Maybe we can pay that person the community
not necessarily a communications director, but a communications officer that's assigned by the district that's responsible for getting a hold of the foreman on an hour or 2 hour basis to get updates so they can post things periodically through the night, not necessarily through the night, but at least during the day. And so that when people get up in the morning, they have the latest information that they can use their shower or the water was turned back on at such and such a time. Mr. Chip, are you finished? Yeah.
And wouldn't it be great if we could hire somebody who could be in charge of communication and training? Like we've discussed.
Yes, we need to do it.
We've got a direction already on that. We can move.
So we did that, during the water emergency, I think, the amount of people that have put the times in update time. It seemed to work pretty well. It was on our Facebook and, Metro page.
Yeah, I like that, and I do appreciate the Facebook post because it helps me a little bit. But it doesn't say anything in the Facebook postings about backups and problems. It just says that they're having a super issue, and that's pretty vague. It's not very informative to the general public. It doesn't say something like, you can take a shower now or you can flush your toilet. It just says we've got a problem. And I guess people have to figure that that's code for don't flush your toilet or what. But anyway, we need to address that. Let's hire somebody to take care of communication and training. We've got a candidate. We can't hire that candidate. Can we? Have you fixed that issue?
I cannot find him. It says cannot.
I don't believe that there would be a case. Well, I was told that you can't because he was
It was, I showed it to him and we can't find it. That's what it was.
Very good, 1099 issue. I have to do that.
For state statutes, and there's nothing about it. So I don't know whether, I can't find a local issue.
Well, if it's locally, we can change it for the board. But if it's not locally, if it's state, then we can't change it.
Was that person, just the one I'm thinking of, was their current actual job, would they have time to do updates like that on a regular basis?
That is their current job. Pretty much. I mean, that's what they do for a living.
I would recommend that we run it through, legal on the 1099 issue.
Yeah,
We can find a way, I think, that.
please, let's do that. That would be an inexpensive point. Yeah.
We gotta move on, we're gonna end up being.
Next on study is draw 14 for ARPA. I received that late Friday. I was sick yesterday. I just threw it in the book as an old.
It's still the same more paperwork. Just paying more people, more paperwork.
I'm not sure. That's why I had to figure it out. It's telling me that.
We got him here.
And Ally got me.
So I'm gonna ask you some questions when we get to it. I'm sorry, John.
Let's get through it. We got, so 9 here.
Section 9.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Have you seen the draw picture?
Just barely.
Yeah. Like I said, I just got.
I got it. I was at the doctor's and I got it. I had like 30 minutes to look over the packet, doubled in size from 52 pages to 90 miles. I didn't have time to cover it all.
It's supposed to be the open yesterday, but I got something.
So while Mr. Collins is reading to figure this out, for Swedish, is 16% of the job done?
They have done everything that they possibly can to move forward. If it's 16% exactly, it's fully pretty close to that.
The design contract administration, ongoing contract administration. What is that? Fee currently due for ongoing contract administration of $379. Why is it, is that different? Why is that cut out from these other two things?
Jim, where are you reading from?
I'm on page 2 of,
Is this the invoice? Is this part of the invoice? 'Cause I don't have that.
oh, okay.
I probably
Invoice
will,
14.
I will probably struggle to answer questions on the invoice since that's not in my purview from my company. But we can
So-
document the questions and get you answers.
Dollar numbers you can't answer questions.
Not on that specific invoice.
What is your question, Ian?
So on page 2, it's ongoing contract administration, phase 0.4, design contract administration. How is that different than the others? I don't understand. For the phase fee, it's only $12,000.
Page 2, I don't see the-
Yeah, you've got us lost, Mr. Chairman. Can't find it.
page 2. On which one? That's what I'm trying to find it.
Page 2 here, but maybe there's another page.
There's one that says case to it.
Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. Right here.
Is it the page 2?
Invoice number 14.
So is invoice number 14.
Oh, you made one. Oh. Don't you think?
And you have phase, phase 200 funding administration underneath the professional services.
No, that's not what page 2. You drove the page. Okay, here's another page 2. Yeah. He called it.
That's what I'm lost.
Yeah. That page
Well,
there.
I'm thinking, I understand it's all a contract.
All right, thank you so much. Ongoing contract with Chairman.
That's it. Phase fee. What the heck is a phase fee?
I can get you an answer for that. I can get you an answer for that.
It's under, is that phase 400 design contract administration?
Yes.
Under that, phase fee.
I don't know, I can get you an answer for that. I know the answer for that, right?
Let's see that.
You have the fee previously billed, fee currently due, fee to be billed.
For contract administration, phase fee.
I was going to guess that would, we take this, my guess, without checking first. That looks like an overall budget.
Well, no doubt, though, we get the rest of it's broken down, by principal and senior professional engineer, all those other things, but then we put this lump some money for what?
I'll give you an answer for you. Okay. I'll probably go through Jim, is that acceptable?
Okay, yes.
Send me an email and I'll email it.
In my skinflint ways, I resident representative 48 hours, is that 2 hours?
That's myself.
48 hours?
Yes.
Is that?
It's gonna be included with, what, I feel like you're asking, what is that? I don't want to spend my time.
Yes, I just.
A lot of that time is going to be spent with, I talked about Andrew, who's representative of Swedish, he's the owner. I'll talk to him today. The emails we've been doing, there's been a lot of changes on this project, which I'm happy to discuss, get an update if we're going to roll it out right now. There's been some curveballs on this project. Happy to discuss, but there has been a lot of time. It's driving time down here, that's this time.
So I understand that. I don't want to beat you up on that. I think that, after that number, probably makes more sense to me than 1 hour for principal. Or executive assistant. Or, well, you know, so your time is like actually somebody watching what's going on. And kind of monitoring the contractor as far as going on. What working down there probably makes more sense, to me anyway, than these other ones that 2.1 hours for the principal. What the heck did the principal do it for 2.1 hours or 1 hour? Because you're doing the job, you're the one coming down there to monitor it.
Do you have do you have a 1 hour, like that's a problem?
No. We track our minutes.
Oh, okay.
We track our minutes.
Okay.
To answer your question, again, I'm not a principal. I didn't bill that time, but my answer to you would be, yes, I'm down here on the project working, but I am working with people that are much smarter than I and have the licenses. Professional engineering licenses to review what we're doing. So
Well, 6
For
hours
example,
professional engineer,
I know, for example, that part of that would be Tom, which is one of our professionals.
that's,
He's had to go back and forth with, Andrew from Swedish to talk about handrails and
Sure.
changes that have kind of,
so we have professional engineer for 6 hours and for 0.7 hours, I mean, we have that, that's it, and again, I understand that. Above the 6 hours for professional engineer, is that conflict of 1 hour per principal?
I'll raise your concern.
I beat this up, and I probably should, but
Well, I'm happy to raise your concerns. We don't want to feel
that's all right.
nickel and dime.
Sorry, guys, maybe we'll stop on
That's, I mean, that's good to do.
that. I appreciate that. Honestly, I think that the 48 hours that you spend probably makes more sense than any of this other stuff. Well, did
I got another.
you have something, Greg?
No, sir.
Okay. So, all right, I'm gonna close the study session, open the record meeting. Go to the record, call to the call. January 9th, 7:35. John is government.
I think we can scoot out of the United States of America. And to the Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why you're going to South, welcome to what you read. Thank you, everybody. Let the minutes show that we have a full quorum, all board members present. Can I get a approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. No, sir.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed? I have an agenda. And I've been approval of the minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of public hearing December 12th, study session December 12th, regular meeting December 12th, special meeting December 18th, and CCACC minutes December 12th, 2023. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then, bills paid.
I would really love to see that propane bill come down. I mean, yeah, bill.
The propane that you see on there is for
Not propane, natural gas.
natural gas is in, that was the last one. It was in the last set of bills.
Oh, okay.
We had one refund. After discussing it, we cannot give any more refunds because we're going in trying to do either this and we can change back
For the
or the recycle. Yeah. We extended it to And this was the last one, we should probably take.
Anything else unusual?
I've got a question about, I just need some clarification. I don't know what page it's on, but it's item number 1082024. It's a, U.S. Bank Operations Center loan for, the wastewater treatment plant is $56,000. And I just wanted some background on it. It's not an annual payment for a,
So for the, Colorado water loan, so we have this payment, and then we have one more, and that loan is paid off.
and when did that, when was that loan taken out, you know?
I'm not sure when it was taken out, but I know they refinanced it in 2012.
Okay, that's all. So that's just a single annual payment.
No,
Two.
one.
One in February and one August 1st.
Okay, thank you so much.
And did you say we have one more thing?
Yes.
Just the August payment and your payment full.
Nice.
Board, anything else?
I'll make a motion that we take the bill. Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here we go. Operational reports. I have the diameter, for 1-4. 1-2 was dry. Hole P4, 21.1, P5 is 20.2, P6 is 26.1, P11 is 13.9, and which they haven't changed from the last one. And we're at the 14.1. As for our weekly is, for 1-4, the lake level is at 14.1, 4 inches dry, 6 inches 1 minute equals 350 milliliters. Seep is dry, wear is at 0.12, pit is dry, is done by gold. Golf shop report is in front of you there. Winter has set in, the course was closed most of the month due to snow on course. This was allowed time to work on yearly maintenance to our fleet of golf carts overall. Had a great year, with revenue up over 50,000 for last year. Course maintenance, course has been closed for majority of December. Shop preventative winter maintenance and course equipment continues. Sharpening wheels and ice has begun. Real maintenance, Parks and Rec, revenue, the end of the year was $84,119.72. We wrapped up all the CTF projects in December. These included electrical upgrades, new roof and gutters on the bathrooms, new playground and new picnic tables. This spring, we plan to remove the old swing frame and broken concrete wooden foot tables. Sports basketball registration has begun. Start play in January. It will be the biggest program for Parks and Rec. They have 110 participants this year. Working on plans to host a Parks and Rec night during one of our high school basketball games. There will be an introduction of our program. We'll plan on having short games for the older kids, and will be coached by some of the high school basketball players. Park tree trimming wrapped up in December. We will be doing a little more next fall, winter, and then should be able to keep up with the annual maintenance plan. There is the big logs up there that are there for anybody that wants to throw them up and haul them away to burn. But they are pretty big. Yeah, they can cut them and do whatever they want to do with it. I've had a few inquiries to get them out. December for water, wastewater. They're just having, December was a bad month for all the way around. We had 5 water breaks, one that cost us nearly 500,000 gallons of water from tank 3, problems with sewer as well, blockages around the golf course.
have not been cleared yet. The line is pressured and must be cut to clean. Flushing of wipes, eggshells, coffee grounds, sanitary products, and fog products must not be flushed. Fog?
Fog, yeah,
Okay.
fat oils and grease.
Okay, fat soil and grease. Tank painting has been stopped until we can catch up with other issues. Water plant went down due to electrical issues. HMI card getting fried, and programming of the new card took a lot of time. I have the card in or repair if possible to fix, we will. If not, a new card unprogrammed is about 6 weeks out. We have cleaned and trimmed all old filters, getting ready for spring. When sample set arrives, we will begin pulling yearlies. Plant flows, Beckwith plant, 12 million gallons produced, Cold Springs, 1 million, for a total of 13,822,354 gallons. This total does not reflect losses due to breaks. Most of the breaks, water loss was water held in storage and has not been replaced yet. Wastewater plant received 7,513,396 gallons of wastewater treated it and returned 7,800,000 to the creek. We are now not pressing at this time with equipment issues and are still waiting on parts for basin two.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to ask on the wastewater side, I just don't know the technical answer to this. The plant receives, 7,518,000 and it returns 7,804,000.
Yeah,
Where do we get that extra 300,000 put into
from the water, fresh water.
it's fresh water? It's
Yes,
treated
it's
water?
treated water to clean and
Okay,
take care of the process.
so is that part of our, equation of,
We take that out every month, yes. It's
okay,
about-
so that's already off.
We already know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Sorry, we've looked at that 100 times, trying to make that help, but it does.
Hey, Jim, can I do my financial?
Sure.
I have kind of put together a report, but I don't have very much, so, we did see an improvement in reading meters for, December, so that helped out our staff, so, I think there was some training there. I just gave Jim the financials for October. The reason that they're stale dated is we still have some ledgers open from November. For payroll, we have December ledgers open. It's a training issue. It's year end. We have, people in new positions, so he's trying to get training to him, but I don't know when we're gonna finish that, so I'm trying to work on getting W-2s out, and we have new processes, new training. We just got that done today through Social Security and, our TCC code from, IRS. So I've been working on that and year-end entry, so, I mean, we're gonna be behind with some training, but that's kind of where we're at.
Where are we at on the outsourcing, all of that? Because this is the beginning of the year when we need to figure that out.
Oh, I agree, and I've been, I did that for 2 years.
Well, yeah, but we need to do it now. Like, it needs to be done now at the beginning of the year.
They have the DocuSigns, everything ready to go. It's just getting the information together to start the process.
But I think, well, I know when we talked about it, we're looking at beginning of second quarter.
But we were talking about February, March.
No, because this month is, year end. We gotta get to year end with some training. And then the audit, I mean, if you want audit numbers, it's gonna be after third quarter.
I don't understand that though. Why wouldn't we start at the beginning? Like, even if, I mean, I understand there's stuff that you have to finish, but why wouldn't we start at the beginning of the year? with outsourcing those things so that we're not dealing with it the same way we did last year?
Well, I guess based on our discussion, they're wanting me to take that over, and I just, January is my worst month. That's when I have to get all the audit stuff ready. I'm still training, we're trying to close ledgers.
Can't your present payroll handle what they need to, in a process to go into payroll?
No, our ledger for payroll is open from November. I can't even do quarterly reports or W-2s until that gets cut. And I know I've been keeping you updated on what the issues are. And you just don't have the training to get that done. So before we can even outsource, we've got to get these ledgers closed and get the year-end adjustments, which we need training on that. We've got some new processes, the beta entries, training on that. And then actually doing them. But yeah, per our discussion, I was letting you know, and I did talk to payroll, they're like, we can't even do that until we're looking at March.
We had just asked that real quick. You know, my memory is the best in the world. But Bob Cook has been off this board now for how long?
2 years.
And we approved this. He was one of the votes that approved this. So we went through 2 years.
No, actually,
2 years in May.
yeah.
It was right before.
So almost.
Yeah.
We went through, well, he did it right before he left. So basically roughly 2 years, we've had this approved and haven't moved on with it. I think this is borderline freaking insubordination at this point. If I was still in the military, you guys are in the military with me, we'd have a problem.
Well, I have,
So the board gave a directive, excuse me. for a second. The board gave a directive to get this done. So why isn't this done? And why do we keep coming up with excuses as to why it's not done?
I'm gonna have Jim answer that because I have given him emails with that same thing that the board has directed it. This is the window that we have to get it done, we need to get it done. And we're sorry.
Well, you know, the 5 of us up here are elected to make sure that the district is represented. Yeah, I know that sometimes we're a pain in the ass. I realize that. You guys, you know, have been here, some of you have been here a lot longer than us. Some of you not so much. Some of you have been here since Moses was a young man. Okay? And I get it that we are a pain in the butt, and that you don't necessarily want to do what we tell you. But when the board comes down and gives a directive, it should be done. And I'm sorry, but 2 years is ridiculous.
I agree. I've been asking the same question, right? Now, there are certain windows where we cannot do it. That's why I recommend that we get it done in this time frame. That's per the payroll people. They can't do it. And we were supposed to do it earlier this year, and then we lost our payroll person. So that's the person that could help us implement.
Okay, let's move on. Committee reports. Newsletter, who do we have for this one? Or we have that brochure that's going out for the, I just got an email from Josiah. He has the printing company that's supposed to give me a quote, and that way I can get a couple more quotes to get that printed.
Okay, we have a newsletter in there from Ray,
So what?
the newsletter.
Is that me?
Yeah, no, we have it, Ron. What was that?
Sarah,
I have last.
Sarah did the last one. Oh,
I think I'm not.
We took mine.
Well, I thought I had one in my packet here that was,
no, that was last one is,
oh, that was last month.
that was last
I just got one in my water bill.
Okay.
Who's up?
I believe I am.
What?
What do you need to, Jim?
We need to cover probably like the 24th, 25th. No, I'm good. Because we start reading on usually the 25th, but since 25th is on a Thursday.
So are we going to attempt to have the brochure in this next bill?
Yes,
So the newsletter ought to be, if it works, if you could put it up into it on one side, and we'll print it on the back of the water bill.
Okay.
so that would be one sheet, we'll have the brochure and just the newsletter.
I can make it short.
All right. Website update?
We should be going live on the 12th. I got a Zoom meeting with him. I think when was it, Thursday? We've read through everything, all the changes, all of that. We are just waiting now for the link between our old website and our new website until we can get our domain from SIPA. And SIPA has our domain, which is ours. But they're going through a change, and that's why it's gonna be here, the rest of it, but we can link it to their website too.
So as far as committees in general, quite a talked to you last meeting about, you kind of heading up one or two,
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up to whole
what's
business.
that?
Yeah, sewer ground.
So we'll just do that one.
Okay.
We won't talk, yeah, we'll wait till that. Anything else on committees? I think that the budget committee is okay with the budget.
Yep, I am. As far as I know, it went in, pretty much the parts that I looked at. I mean, there would be no way I would be able to tell if the number was changed or transposed at this point, but I have faith that it all got in as we discussed.
All right, and we don't have any turn. Let's move on then to agenda items.
Want us to go ahead and go down through here since we already discussed these agenda
Yeah,
items?
we need to,
I make a motion at this time that we approve resolution 1-2024 designating posting places. Second.
with the. That didn't mean incorrect, you did it.
Nope.
Good. Well, you got a second, right?
Yep.
Moving second, discussion, questions? Let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 2024 is down.
Make a motion that we pass resolution 2/2024 designating meeting dates 2024.
Okay.
Moving second, would you entertain the amendment to your motion that, to change the 2020 to 2024?
Yes.
Would you entertain that on the second?
Yeah.
Moving second with the amended change of changing 20 to 2024. Any questions, discussion? I guess I should have given to the floor. What about? I would like to amend your motion. To change paragraph 2 on the second page. To insert regular in front of district board meeting.
On the second page? Oh,
Item 2 there, he wants to, insert the word regular in between the words per and district. Is that right, Mr. Chairman?
That's cool.
I get it.
Thank you. Let's see. Well, mention the secret.
so would you want them to vacate their motion and create a new motion?
I will vacate my motion and allow you to do the amendment motion.
Okay, I will make the motion to approve resolution 2-2024 with the correction of the year of 2022, the year of 2024, and we will insert the word regular between per and district on item 2 on the second page.
I'll second.
Moving and seconded. Discussion questions. Let's go. Let's, down, so, Clint,
Yes.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Ray?
Yes.
Ray?
Yep.
There's one here. Can I get a motion on 2-2024?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, to approve resolution 3, more, adopting the 2024 budget.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Discussion? Let's go. Ray?
Yep.
Ray?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Clint?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
I make a resolution that we approve resolution 4-2024, resolution setting the limits.
And certifying, certifying, certification of the tax levies for non-school government.
Yeah, certifying of tax levies for non-school government.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, questions? Let's go. Sarah?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Clint?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Chair votes yes.
I move that we table the board debate till next meeting. Second.
Board page, the table.
Make a motion that we accept new construction at 5045 Left Hand Lane House.
Moved and seconded. Question, discussion? Let's go. Sarah?
Yeah.
Clint?
Yes.
Ray?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Ray?
Sorry.
It's approved.
Didn't even hear it before.
Old business. Let's see, we have let's do the draw first.
We gotta approve it.
Yes.
Make a resolution that we approve draw 14 for ARPA.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, discussion? That's it. Ray?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Clint?
Yes.
You'll get that information for him. I'll prove this. That was a struggle.
Tomorrow.
Other old business.
Have we, got any bids yet for start the process of the sewer branch cap issue?
Not yet. Got a couple out. They're old slow time of year. Now that the holidays are over, you should be able to.
I'm going to request that, the plant accept the committee assignment of kind of monitoring that and being the connection to us on doing that so that the board doesn't just muddle it up. Would you be willing to do that?
Sure.
You'll be with Tom on that, just kind of monitor,
Yeah.
keep track of it. New business.
Under all business, I just got a tax remaining, the sewer line, and it's all put back together. We have good flow into now, all the way down.
So could we, because you got that, could we send a text to all of the houses along? How could we monitor that? That would be our first test of communication.
People are monitoring her Facebook page for this effort.
That's what I was gonna do, is I'll put it on.
Facebook like right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could we,
Okay.
do we have the ability to text all of those?
I've got a few of the names and phone numbers, but not all of them.
Yeah, I think you'd have better luck. As far as people have been watching,
Yeah.
I've been told, we're waiting for a message on our Facebook page or on our website.
I know yesterday I was out of it and I should have been updating it. And before I went to bed, I did it so that we had this and this help.
So those specific houses, of course, were affected. I would like to see us do all we can to do that.
I did have one thing on one business I forgot to mention. I did receive, correspondence from Laura Goldberg's office on post office. So that if anybody asks, it's going nowhere fast, but I did receive an official correspondence from.
Well, we'll have a new representative.
Yeah. Okay. I think, as far as old business, the post office, if we ever get one, it's gonna probably take a class action suit or some major.
I was gonna say, we split up a shift between all of us down there at the post office with signs, they'll come up with something.
I've seen in Bennett's letter, his monthly or weekly letter, that he's hopped on board now for a rural post office.
Oh, yeah.
Good, they've all, and if you can't get Reapers, good too, so.
Sandy, did you have something?
What I was gonna say, I understand on the communication, that one thing for texting, yes, we have to have everybody's phone number. We have to know where that line affects, they say 14 houses. To put that together, we have to know what line goes where and it affects these houses. So let's say the line breaks over here, I need to know where it starts, where it ends, to even put together a text group or something. So that unfortunately will take time for us to even start doing something, and that's kind of a combination of somebody, going the line goes from here to here, looking at the addresses, finding the names, fitting the phone numbers, great.
And you can use addresses, but we should have a phone number.
Not, I would say most, but there are, yes. it's
So more than anything else,
It's
if
the
somebody asked, just would be able to respond.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I think it's
Other old business,
Not for me.
new business and, we're raised, comment about hiring a communications expert and a training expert. We probably should revisit that. That we were, Terry offered, and at that time, he even suggested that we put out for ad, or put an advertising out. What do we need to do?
I think that we do need to create an advertisement. I oftentimes know that I see, it's been a couple, been a couple of years, but I'd see an ad in the Chieftain or another newspaper asking, offering a position in Alamosa, for example, when you know good and well that the position's already got a ringer, but they do have to advertise it. So I think that we'd be going through some kind of a formalized process like that, just to make sure that it was known, what we were going to do. It's a public notice, more or less, and let's get the ball rolling. There's too many things that we talk about, and then we're talking about them again in 3 months, and then another 3 months, and then so we got to move something.
Make sure it's advertised as a contractor position.
Yeah, 1099.
Ron?
One thing I know the board did, approve and was the, year-end, adjustment training for me, and that was approved years ago, and I still don't have it. The benefit for me is to get the training, get the adjustments right, and then our audit will go a lot smoother and quicker. But we've been waiting on that training for my staff. I did reach out, well, I didn't talk to our CRM at, Excel, but what I was told, and I need to verify this, is they will provide free training if we just pay expenses to get, like, Sandy's been here 8 months and she doesn't have the training she needs. Christine's training, if we could just pay expenses to get them out there, they can train them in several topics. But this is their busiest quarter because of tax, the W-2s and 1099, so they're not looking at setting that up until, second quarter, beginning of second quarter.
What does, where is this? Where do they go?
Utah.
It's in Utah.
Okay. And is it a multi-day event?
Yes.
5 days, 4 days?
It's probably like 3.
3 days. Sandy, you be able to do that?
Yeah. And then I need to go because we're missing some steps on closing these ledgers, that I never had training on, so we can just get this done. We can do it a lot sooner. But that's at least a lead. And then, I gave Jim a couple leads on year-end adjustment training.
So that's just me.
Is that, I think it's less than $5,000, that's kind of Jim.
It's less than $5,000, yeah, it's, well,
They're gonna have a training on, it might be able to.
In the meantime,
Well, yeah, every year.
back to the,
So,
would you put together an ad for the,
Yes.
the training?
I'll put one together that you look at it and, send it out, see what you guys. Okay, go from there. Approved.
Anything else? Would that be okay, Will?
Yeah, the sooner the better, though.
I just,
What's our, Jim? I know you're doing something else right now. That's cool. I know what you're doing. I got you coming and going. If we ask to have an advertisement, can we have it tomorrow? Just for the position for trainer and communications person. Okay, you can get it to Neil. Okay, that's good.
Or I can send it to all of you.
Just send it to Neil.
Yeah, if Neil comes in in the morning, I'll be with you. So,
Okay, good.
we have 2 of
Very good. Let's move.
that's good. Anything else?
There was a communication, I did throw that in, I got it, Sunday, from Mr. Chipley. It says here, Happy New Year to the CCM team. Currently, CCM purchases from Highline a data connection to locations specified by CCMV. Please note, these connections are linear connections, meaning that there is no redundancy in any event the primary connection fails to these sites. If the event CCMV is interested in purchasing redundant connections, Highline can design a redundant connection to locations specified by CCMV. Please contact me to discuss details regarding the cost and fees associated with providing redundant connection solutions. This was put out there because of the last one that happened and the lawsuit that happened with our insurance company suing them. So they're doing this to cover it. We have talked to Johnson about Skylink as maybe another one, so that it wouldn't be because he has Skylink and he says he gets it no matter where he's at, home, whatever. And just to see as a backup. I don't know whether they would do it on a temporary basis and stuff, and that's one of the next things looking at is that, or get a quote from them too, to see. We do not have any other internet provider other than Skylink and, what is it, HughesNet, but HughesNet, I would not recommend it on that.
Could we get another quote or get a quote from Highline for the redundancy?
Yeah. And I'll talk to Dave on that and see what it would cost to do it. We get redundancy, but, like I said, the biggest one would be, I would want to go someplace else too, to see.
Yeah.
If Highline goes down, you know, it's gonna probably be that other one too. So if we have another outside one as a backup.
Yeah. I think backup speeds and utilities are pretty much anymore are almost mandatory for.
I just need to see what it's gonna cost.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what it's gonna cost.
So they'll take care of that.
Yeah, I'll give Dave a call and we'll go from there.
And then
Can we go home?
make a motion and blow this.
Anybody remember? Yeah, move the second. We're good.
Might be back down tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
I'll give you a home return if I want to.
also, you know, already got figured.
I always wanted to be already, and I hadn't, but that
Here we go, Miss Nance.
I guess it was.
Well, I like.
So basically just see. Yeah, dude, that's a serious thing.
Later on. Got my flashlight, so I'm good to go.
So I can reach it.
It's just a shame that all happened today.
I don't need to say anything to it.
Okay.
So, can we? No, I'm not a secretary or anything like that. She's got Friday.
Okay, got it, yeah. Yep. One would you gotta take care of this, or you gotta go around here.
I have.
Got the one, down, next dig. And then you got the roof goes up,
I get it.
and when you gotta go down below. This leapfrog. That means that's why we're supposed to use leapfrog. When you do the deal and push that, yeah, that's the ours.
Right.
We can't put it. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Greg. No, you can't put a clean out on it because of the. I tried that.
Did you? Oh, yeah, let me tell you what, I have to go home and fix up. Oh, you're at all PSI with this dimension. Yeah. I've never seen one that high. We're working with
Well, that would be the thing, I mean, if.
8, 10, you know. What all? Really required. I hope you don't take on the kitchen. Because I'm getting his life.
Like,
I've been doing this way too long to get rid of it. But, yeah.
Wow.
what's the name of the company?
I gotta go to your car.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, thank you for that information, I'm very curious, if I didn't have any idea that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some very interesting. Thanks. What do I have to sign on that?
For a long time.
One more year. For what?
It needs to go.
I'm 80 years old.
Oh,
You've been seeing this for a minute.
Somebody said I had to sign this.
I'm being good,
Right.
That brings up a question.
Well, take care, good.
You're sending me support. No, because I've seen it in the, we've asked these questions. Well, you have me, you asked me, tell you what I'm saying.
Yeah. Maybe.